mucus free. We are 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 mucus free.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to yet another edition of the Mucus-free Life podcast. We are at episode 70. That's a nice round number. 70 episodes. And I don't know exactly when we started. It was several years ago when we started this incarnation of the podcast, but it's been a lot of fun. And the podcast legacy really goes back to Cincinnati, Ohio, and me and Brother Ehret had our Immortality Pipeline program on 88.3 WAIF in Cincinnati. And that was one day I'm going to release some of that more of that content. You can find some episodes of that era on the YouTube channel, or little clips of episodes and things, but there's a treasure trove of stuff that I'm sitting on. And eventually I will release hours and hours of us doing episodes every week. And there's a lot of history in those episodes because whatever we were going through, we were documenting it on this radio show. So there was a couple times I was going through elimination, but I'm not going to miss the radio show. So I come in and I'm blowing my nose and just going through elimination. A couple times Brother Ehret was going through something. And so it's a real good documentation. The idea that I had for a long time with releasing is I don't really want to just release all the episodes where you just like on demand kind of download type of format. What I've always wanted to do was upload all of them to a server and then let them stream live like 24 hours a day, where it's just the Mucus-free Immortality radio, online radio channel. And I looked into doing that several years ago and I got close to pulling the trigger on it, but it wasn't time yet, or I'd have did it. Because I think now it's getting closer to where that'd be something that I'd like to do. But it started there, and then, I started with the YouTube channel here and worked on making content for that over the years. There's different eras of that. And we were just looking not that long ago, me and the research and development team members, and looking at some of the older content that's on the YouTube channel here, and just where the kind of consistency of message, where you go back and the paradigm and the message has been fairly consistent. You might say it in a little different way, present it differently over the years, depending on who we're talking to, what's going on in that little particular era. But we're very, very consistent in terms of talking about the principles of the Mucusless Diet Healing System, Arnold Ehret's rational fasting, his natural health, natural hygienic, naturopathic methodologies. That is the foundation for what would come after. Yet Arnold Ehret, to me and to our members of our community, are not celebrated enough for the contributions. And even some of the people that do celebrate him don't follow his advice, or don't really understand, or don't study or know his work. So that became my mission, was to at least make that message available, whether you get into it or not, or you check it out. Or my mission was, I just want to expose the Mucusless Diet Healing System to every person on the planet at least once. This is where everybody get it. I mean, it might just be a blip on a computer screen over in the corner where you could choose to click it or not. But everybody should have the opportunity to at least be exposed to this. Once you're exposed to this information and the life-changing implications that come along with it, that's a whole other discussion, and getting into the pedagogy and how you actually introduce this information to people and help educate people on it. That's an entirely different kind of discussion, which is one of my favorite discussions. But just as a baseline, it's like, nah, I at least want everybody to be exposed to this information, be exposed to this wavelength, this frequency, because it's needed today so much. And now, I'm real excited about the work that's being done behind the scenes. We got some intense things going on that I can't talk about too much yet, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And yeah, a lot of things going on. And you just stay tuned. And while we're thinking about it, go down below, click the link, sign up for the free training, because that's actually being yanked down in a couple days. All those free training links are only going to be up for a couple more days. Then something else is going to go up in its place. But if you are interested in that, or you've been thinking about doing it or put it off, or maybe you signed up once but you didn't do it, then do it now. This is your last chance, because I am serious. I know sometimes people think like, oh, you're just saying. No, it's those links are going to be gone soon, and something else will be there in its place, going in a little different direction when it comes to that. So go down below, click that, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our lovely channel here, and that when maybe hit the notifications tab, make sure when we do go live or post up a new video, you get a notification, because as I'm finding out, YouTube loves to deprioritize my content, and they've done so. It's like, it's weird. It's as our content gets better, just objectively, as the quality of it improves and it gets better, they seem to put a stranglehold on it even more, where I look at some things we put out and I'm like, nah, this doesn't even make sense. This should have way more views. But it's always been like that. And so we, as members of the community, it's our responsibility to really put this out there. We have to, we can't rely on algorithms, and we can't rely on these things. I've been burned by every entity that's been out there that's online, from Google to Facebook, to YouTube. I've been burned by every single one of them in some way over the years. And it's just one of those things where we don't have control over these platforms. We can try to play by their rules, and we're not going to boycott them. We're going to use them because we just have to play the game in a certain way. But it's more of it's on us to really hit the pavement, hit the street, forward the email, send the link, text message the link. Like, we got to do that the Underground Railroad kind of thing. It is what it is. That's what we have. That's the what we've been dealt. And the more that I look out there and just see the level, it's like this whole Western civilization thing is crumbling before our eyes. Just an unprecedented. It's amazing to see. And more and more, and this might just maybe me getting older or something, but the more and more I see, it really just the elements of society, the more I see like this, none of this makes any sense, and it doesn't mean anything. And that's one of these, there's certain spiritual practices where you meditate on, you don't know what things mean. And just all these things that people think is such a big deal. And when you're growing up, you get into your pop music, whatever's on the radio, or you see something, you get pulled into what you see on the TV and these lives that people are living, and you're like, wow, I want to be a part of that. Or how does that happen? How do you do that? And as we see, most of that stuff is just totally fake. Or people have, they've had something in their mind, or they see some kind of role model. It's like, oh, I want an entourage. I want to have an entourage and be famous and walk around, and but it doesn't mean in 10,000 years, 100 years, 50 years, no one gonna know any of those people, any of those things. All the people that we think are the most important, famous, richest, so-called influential people on the planet mean nothing in the grand scheme of humanity. And you study a little history. That's always reinforced every time I study, Mesopotamia and Egypt and, just all these different, whether, Greek, Rome, just whatever, pick a Samaria, just pick a people, a historical people. And of such a small amount of those people are even noted. And it's generally noted based on pain and suffering, based on war. Most of the kind of history that we get told is the history of so-and-so. They had the battle of this battle, and then they occupied these people. Then Pharaoh so-and-so did this, then Emperor that, and it's all pus and mucus based. But of all those millions of people, there's just a couple names, and sometimes you don't even really know who they were or what they, it's all real murky. Yet people dedicate their entire lives to legacy, to trying to make, wanting their name to be for thousands and thousands of years, just trying to, as if it's really a way that they're trying to replicate some semblance of immortality. And we wouldn't desire that or even have a conception of it if that wasn't inside of us, if that wasn't some kind of prime directive that we've lost. There's a lot of stuff we try to replicate and figure out that because we've lost it. It fell in the toilet and we lost it. Now we're trying to get it back, and we do so in really bizarre ways. So it's like, let's statue of Christopher Columbus, put up a statue of this genocidal maniac, and let's put up in fact, all the genocidal maniacs, let's put up so that we can give homage to them and pray at their feet and this kind of stuff. And it's all that stuff crumbles. All those you can turn it from rock. Is eventually it crumbles. What tends to have a little more longevity would be the mythologies, where you don't necessarily know the individual person or people that is being represented in the story, but the story outlasts the people. The concept of some individual, and then oftentimes even big groups of people. The storylines can stand the test of time a little better. But from a Mucusless Diet Healing System standpoint, where what I'm realizing is it's the idea. The idea is without that germ of an idea, that's an idea good enough to stand the test of time. There's a lot of ideas that people got all kinds of concepts and things, but to have an idea that changes the world, that's special. Not a person, because the people are going to forget about the person, or they'll turn into something else. Over in 1,000 years, Martin Luther King could be a Jesus figure, the way that they, just it's the way that the mythology carries on. But then in 20,000 years, it'll be forgotten. Humanity have moved on to something else, if still here. At the rate we're going, this thing is out of control. But so I'm into the idea, and to segue into today's discussion on the concept of intermittent fasting and trying to set the record straight on what is it and who coined the term. Who should be given some kind of respect for the history of what has become a craze in the past 10, 20 years, where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everybody you bring up intermittent fasting, intermittent, yeah, I heard it. I only eat, I don't eat for 16 hours and I eat once a day and two, all this. But not one of them know who Professor Arnold Ehret is. They have no clue where the concept came from. They just saw it, Joe Rogan talking about it, or some keto doctor, some marketer, or somebody trying to sell a product or something, that now we can talk about it because some doctors, they did a study, and now it's okay. It's okay for us to talk about this concept of intermittent fasting. But as usual, folks are horribly uneducated on the history of these concepts. They don't understand how the concept has been co-opted and messed with and raped and destroyed. I guess I don't know, I probably shouldn't say that word on YouTube, but how it's been soiled. And so that's what we're gonna get into a little bit today. So let me share my screen. And sometimes I like to just review what do they think it is. What do they, so they said intermittent fast. If I just do a Google search, and because these are things, this is the type of stuff that has changed over the years, where when I used to have an intermittent fasting, one of my pages talking about intermittent fasting used to be pretty far up on Google. Not anymore, because several years ago, they did like a St. Valentine's Day massacre type of thing on all natural health people, on where if you had some kind of page that was really high up in the rankings on Google, they came through and just axed your thing. And so I went from, for years, having several #1 pages that brought in thousands and thousands of people to mucusfreelife.com every day. Overnight, they slashed it. And I went from 10,000 something people coming to the website to a couple hundred. You ain't supposed, then again, that's what we're talking about, the gatekeepers, the Google gatekeepers and this kind of thing. And so let's see what are they. So they got John Hopkins medicine. Number one is John Hopkins medicine. Medicine, we're talking about fasting, something that objectively comes out of, and on modern era, comes out of natural healing, naturopathy, natural hygiene. But Google's like, no, medicine. Let's have that at the top. Medicine. Well, we got Healthline, Mayo Clinic. Come on, people. It's like they got Healthline again, WebMD, Harvard Health. Then it just starts getting into whatever, National Institute of Health, and so on and so forth. So no natural on any. I don't see any intermittent fasting discussions coming from a natural health basis at all. This is all co-opted by the big medicine, big pharma, big constipation. Let's look at this first one. What do they say? Okay. Intermittent fasting. What is it? How does it work? Intermittent fasting is an eating plan that switches between fasting and eating on a regular schedule. Research shows that intermittent fasting is a way to manage your weight and prevent or even reverse some forms of disease. But how do you do it? And is it safe? Many diets focus on what to eat, but intermittent fasting is all about when you eat. And then I could just imagine how lame this is. Oh, of course, the related anti-inflammatory diet with your fish and what is that, sardines or something? This. Okay. John Hopkins neuroscientist Mark Mattson has studied intermittent fasting for 25 years. What about the original studies of it? Went back. Okay, we'll get to that. All right, Mr. Mark, Dr. Mark. He says our bodies have evolved to be able to go without food for many hours or even several days or longer. He did a 25-year study to figure that out, decades and decades after other people did way more studies than he did. But he's the John Hopkins, he's Mr. Doctor. So we got to respect it. We'll write about it. In prehistoric times, before humans learned to farm, they were hunters and gatherers who evolved to survive and thrive for long periods without eating. They had to. It took a lot of time and energy to hunt game and gather nuts and berries. Now, this is the simpletons. It makes me cringe every time I hear that. It's such a it's such a weak interpretation and analysis of historical data, and a very narrow Eurocentric viewpoint of the history of humans. They always want to focus on the hunters. My ancestors were the Neanderthals. We hunted. It's like, the history is so vast, and you got to really get into that to understand there's a huge difference between, the amount of time that humans started eating dead animal flesh versus you go back further before the hunting part, the gathering part, which is more normal. The species was doing that way longer than any of this killing, trying to drink blood of animals and kill an animal. That was a pure degeneration. But they want to argue that was what gave humans helped us grow our brain and gave us this great ability. But here it's like, but they could go long periods of time without eating. Well, what if it almost sounds like that's normal. Because what we would, this eating 3 meals a day or eating every day, it almost, the way that they make that sound, you could really look at that and say, well, what's more normal? To eat every day or to not eat every day? It seems like our ancestors, it was more normal to not eat every day. Not because their explanation for that would be because, well, you're hunting and sometimes it's hard to hunt and you need your calories for hunting, but sometimes you can't get what you want, and so you go a couple days without eating. It's like, stop. Okay, just stop. Just please, let's if we're gonna do, at least do some good story. If we're gonna do mythology, let's do better storytelling. So if you want to tell a mythology of the degenerate hunter-gatherer humans that fell from grace, that fell from their immortality, then we can do that, and then tell the story right. Then put it in a nice mythological framework. But this old prehistoric man, and he had his wooden stick, pointed stick, and had to defend from the woolly mammoth. And it's like, man, this stuff is so lame. Anyway, with internet, TV, and other entertainment available 24/7, many adults and children stay awake for long. Oh, man, this is a horrible article. What is this? Ugh. Man, they wrote this is like third grade, second grade, third grade reading level kind of article or something. Intermittent fasting. So, all right, then the disease discussion, thinking and memory. It says, all right, so if you go to Wikipedia, intermittent fasting, it'll say pretty similar stuff, but in the history part, it says fasting is an ancient tradition having been practiced by many cultures and religions over centuries. Fasting is fasting the same, they're not making a distinction here. The intermittent fasting as a distinctive kind of fasting. It'd be good to say something about that, but that they don't know about that. Therapeutic intermittent fasts for the treatment of obesity have been investigated since at least 1915. with a renewed interest in the medical community in the 1960s, after Bloom and his colleagues published an enthusiastic report, Intermittent Fast or Short-Term Starvation Periods. Who the hell called it that? Short-term starvation periods ranged from 1 to 14 days in these early studies. This enthusiasm penetrated lay magazines, which prompted researchers and clinicians to caution about the use of intermittent fasting without medical monitoring. We don't want you to do anything on your own. Don't take your own health into your own hands. You must be monitored by medical professionals. This is not medical advice in any kind of way. This is purely an analysis of an article on the topic of intermittent fasting. But be well warned, if you try to do anything that might help yourself out without paying the proper gangsters, there will be repercussions. And they get into these different types and all this stuff, religious fasting, which is not intermittent fasting. It's not you don't need to put these here because they're trying to guidelines and so lame. Then I asked GPT, which I'm always curious to see what it'll say on a topic. I'm like, well, give me a history of intermittent fasting. So they again do the 5th century BCE. Greek physician Hippocrates recommended fasting for certain illnesses. Did he recommend intermittent fasting specifically? Or again, we're back to just talking about fasting in general. And they had the hunter-gatherer discussion up there again and all that. Then 20th century developments, 1915, Upton Sinclair's book, The Fasting Cure, popularized fasting for health and wellness. Now, did he talk about intermittent fasting specifically? And, there was a book that came out before 1915 that was all about fasting. And trying to remember what's the name. Somebody refresh my memory of the name of that book, if you would, in the chat, please. I'm drawing a blank. The book that was written, I don't know, 1910, 1911, first time it was written, and it was all about fasting. And so that would predate Mr. Sinclair's book here. Then they got and this was weird, but 1970s, Dr. Herbert Sheldon, he was further back than this. So that's wrong. So again, the chat GPT, they're not doing a great job. You could, if you were going to frame this properly, you could say that some of his influence, he influenced people in the natural health practitioners in the 1970s that come out of this concept of natural hygiene and natural hygienic movement that spans way back before 1970s. Advocating fasting as a treatment for various ailments. And then modern era, 2000 scientific research on intermittent fasting gained momentum, particularly in animal studies showing benefits for longevity, weight loss, and metabolic health. 2010s, intermittent fasting became popular in mainstream health and fitness circles with various protocols emerging. And that is, my friend, the reason that most people even know what the concept is because all of a sudden it became the buzzword. It became the great fad, intermittent fasting. It doesn't, and people will go to McDonald's and tell you they're intermittent fasting. Like, I don't eat for 16 hours and then I eat whatever I want, but those 16 hours are sacred. Then they get some of these modern day, I guess, different methods. The 16-8 method, also known as lean gains protocol, involves fasting for 16 hours and eating all meals within an 8-hour window. For example, eating only between noon and 8 p.m. So that's almost like, like raw till 4. I'm gonna be raw until 4 o'clock. Then I'm gonna eat every cooked item, mucus forming item I can find. but not until after 4. 5-2 diet involves eating normally for 5 days of the week and consuming only 500 to 600 calories on the other 2 days. Eat, stop, eat. This method involves fasting for 24 hours once or twice a week. For example, not eating from dinner one day until dinner the next day. That almost sounds like 24-hour fast. Yeah, the 24-hour. I'm drawing a blank. I've read that somewhere. I've read 24-hour fast somewhere. Alternate day fasting involves alternating between days of normal eating and days of fasting or consuming very few calories, about 500. We got this calorie theory. Got it. We're using it. The warrior diet. What the hell is this? Warrior diet involves eating small amounts of raw fruits and vegetables during the day and one large meal at night, typically within a 4-hour window. I mean, it's a weird title for something that was wrote about a long time ago that had nothing to do with being a warrior. It was just about being a human. And you get the benefits and considerations, so on and so forth. And it's like, okay. So here's the deal. Professor Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System and rational fasting for physical, mental, and spiritual rejuvenation. I submit to you that Professor Arnold Ehret coined the term intermittent fasting. Say that again, because any of you that's here, if I encourage you, if any of you want to go and try to play the game over here on Wikipedia, I'm not allowed. They'll delete my thing real quick. But what we've always wanted to do was to go and set the record straight here, to add over here to say that likely, frame it, you got to word it the right way, that Professor Arnold Ehret in his works Rational Fasting and Mucusless Diet Healing System, written circa between the years of 1910 and 1920, first coined the term intermittent fasting. Now, this could be disproven if we find evidence that somebody else said those words first. And all we'd had to do is produce those documentations. Maybe now I haven't read the Sinclair's book, so maybe intermittent fasting is in there, and if it is, cool. Put it on record. Put it in the historical record. But this is something that I always felt really the record needed to be corrected, because this is sad. So let's get into it. So the same paragraph and the same line that's in Mucusless Diet Healing System is verbatim in Rational Fasting. So I'll read it from one of them. So in part 4 of fasting, and that's part 4. So there's already been 3 parts prior to this discussing Arnold Ehret's fasting methodology. But we get to part 4, and let's see. This is interesting. Something called the 24-hour fast or 1 meal a day plan. And again, so when this was written circa between 1910 and 1920, and we know so I'll read it verbatim from, this is my 1924, one of my 1924 editions of the Mucusless Diet Healing System, and I will read it. Let's see. The 24-hour fast or 1 meal a day plan. As with the breakfast fast, You can heal more severe cases with the 24-hour fast, or in cases of deep chronic encumbrance in drugs, it is a careful preliminary step to the necessary longer fast. The best time to eat is in the afternoon, say 3 or 4 o'clock p.m. If the patient is on the mucusless or transition diet, let him eat the fruits first. Fruits should always be eaten first, and after in a lapse of 15 or 20 minutes, eat the vegetables, but all should be eaten within an hour so that it is, so to say, one meal. Fasting, when used in connection with the Mucusless Diet Healing System. As I have stated before, I am no longer in favor of long fasts. In fact, it may become criminal to let a patient fast for 30 or 40 days on water, contracting the avenues of circulation, which are continually filled up more and more with mucus and by dangerous old drugs and poisons, and at the same time, rotten blood from his old stock. In fact, actually starving from necessary vital food elements. No one can stand a fast of this kind without disadvantage or without harming their vitality. If fasting is to be used at all, then start at first with the non-breakfast plan, then follow with the 24-hour fast for a while, then gradually increase up to 3, 4, or 5 days fasts, eating between fasts for 1, 2, 3, or 4 days of mucusless diet, combined individually as an elimination adjustment, and at the same time supplying and rebuilding the body continually with and by the best elements contained in and found only in mucusless foods. Through such an intermittent fast, ding, 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 ding. Through such an intermittent fast, the blood is gradually improved, regenerated, can more easily stand the poisons and waste, and is able to, at the same time, to dissolve and eliminate disease deposits from the deepest tissue of the body. Deposits that no doctor, not even Mr. John Hopkins, that no doctor ever dreamed existed, and that no other method of healing can ever be discovered or can ever remove. This then is the Mucusless Diet Healing System, with fasting as an essential part of it. Now you can't have my 1924 edition, but you can have the 2014 second edition of the annotated Mucusless Diet Healing System, and read the same thing. So, if somebody coined the term of a word, don't you think that they should be a part of the historical record? If you're going to have a history of the word and a history of the concept, wouldn't it be reasonable to include the person that coined the term? This is one of my 1926 editions of Rational Fasting for Physical, Mental, Spiritual Rejuvenation. And it says the same thing because it's the 24-hour fast, basically what I just read. Through such intermittent fast, the blood is gradually improved, regenerated, can more easily stand the poisons and waste, and is able at the same time to dissolve and eliminate disease deposits from the deepest tissues of the body, deposits that no doctor ever dreamed existed and that no other method of healing has ever discovered or can remove. This then is the Mucusless Diet Healing System, with fasting as an essential part of it. Yeah. So a question, if I was going to create a test and put some questions on, one of the questions would be, in what ways is Arnold Ehret's concept and definition of intermittent fasting different from that of the post 2010 doctor, when it started becoming acceptable in medical circles and athletic circles and ketogenic circles. What's some of the differences? One of the obvious would be Mucusless diet element, to not eat pus forming foods. So some of these folks in these other intermittent traditions, and because sometimes people will say that to me, they'll be like, oh yeah, I intermittent fast, and then but they're breaking an intermittent fast with fried eggs or hard boiled eggs and whatever, just pus forming foods, a little steak and grits or whatever, cheese and stuff. So it's like, yeah, you didn't do anything positive for your body with your so-called intermittent fast. I don't recognize that. That's why when most people, as soon as they say something about like, oh yeah, I intermittent fast, I'm not having it at all. I'm just, nah, I bet not. Because what they're doing is, again, it's this manufactured, where somebody stole the word, and they're like, well, nobody knows who Ehret is, so let's steal his word and let's re-engineer it into something else. And then we can make money off of it. And so all the people, the experts of intermittent fasting, and oh yes, this is good for your blood and help with type 2 diabetes, and this is all this stuff. None of that is new. None of the benefits are new. It's the principles of the principles. Fasting is an omnipotent method of healing for humans. But how you choose to use that tool is important to discuss, or to be cognizant of, to understand the different ways that you could use it. Pretty important. And so yeah, Zoe got it. Yeah, using eliminative foods along with fasting. Very good. Yes. Eliminative foods, mucus-free foods that eliminate from the body, that go through and don't leave behind a lot of slimy residue, that don't leave behind a lot of chemical waste. And there's so much chemicals these days, all the stuff that they put in these processed foods. And people eat that stuff. They eat it and they think they'll eat it as a part of a healthy, something they think is healthy. And it's like, no, that's not it. Brady said, it's not about starvation and calories. Indeed, there you go. That's a good one. That's another difference. We're not talking about calories. We're not counting and defining fasting based on calorie restriction. We're restricting food. The more foods we restrict, the more our body gets into an elimination mode, where it is eliminating, as Ehret says, getting deep into the tissue system. So we say that, and sometimes if you haven't experienced that, you don't really know, you don't think that's real. You don't really know what that is. When you get into this contraction and see your body squeezing out waste and getting deeper and deeper in. And as your blood gets cleaner, it gets stronger. It can neutralize and deal with the poisons as it's getting deeper and deeper in. That's something that you got to experience. People say, well, there's not a scientific study. Well, there is. You can find, like I said, you can find scientific studies on all this stuff, and just pick and choose what you want to believe, because there will be a study that will be in alignment with your belief system. You just got to search and find it. I'm saying all it's bought and paid for. So much of that is compromised. We don't need that. What we need, and that's probably a controversial statement, we don't need that. We need to take your own health into your own hands. That's your prerogative. That's your birthright. That's your heritage. Fasting is your heritage. It's my heritage. That's the human body. That's how the body heals itself. But not only humans, but animals too. Many animals. The fasting process, when they get, what do? They get sick and they don't feel like eating anything. They go sit in the corner and fast until they feel better. as being a species that is supposedly a little more intelligent than the animals, the one thing we can bring to the table is enemas. And even then, there's animals that do it. And so supposedly humans got the idea of enemas watching some animals, some birds do it. But yeah, that kind of conscious understanding. As Deborah says, or mucus-free May challenge is like a fast. Yeah, so in my introduction to our edition to rational fasting, I say that my interpretation of Ehret's fasting methodology is that it's a relative proposition. What's fasting for one person is not going to be fasting necessarily for somebody else. So for some people, what they eat during the day that's just what they eat. But for if somebody else ate that exact same diet, that would be like a fast for them, because they're at a different place physiologically. And so that is a good key. Yeah, Karen's yeah, paying the proper gangsters, yeah, it's you're not allowed to heal yourself. Yeah, they don't want that. See, Danny says they write about fasting in a manner that portrays it as being less scientifically sophisticated than other studies in health. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, the way that they articulate it is in this real, like I said, well, yeah, that article was just very lame. You wrote that for a 10-year-old or something to read. Like, here, let me teach you about intermittent fasting. It's like, yeah. So then I also brought up the same. So this is my little Cliff's notes, the Spears notes. And I mentioned intermittent fasting a couple times in here. This is lesson 1 glossary, just natural. I define natural hygiene, healing philosophy derived from naturopathy that advocates plant-based diets, periods of intermittent fasting, and other lifestyle measures to address the symptoms of disease. Then this is back to lesson 4 of, or not lesson 4, but this is actually fasting part 2. And we got, in modern times, some people refer to this kind of process as intermittent fasting. So that's one of my notes as we talk about Ehret's general principles of fasting. Prepare for an easier fast by gradually changing the diet toward a mucusless diet and with natural laxatives and enemas. Change shorter fasts periodically with some eating days of cleansing diet, mucus-free or mucus-lean periods. In modern times, some people refer to this kind of process as intermittent fasting. Be particularly careful if the patient has used a lot of drugs. And then we get back into, there's a reason for all of this. There's a reason to intermittent fast in the way that Professor Arnold Ehret recommends. You're dealing with people, very toxic people. We're even more toxic now. But back then, even Ehret's talking about people that had used a lot of drugs, whether they were prescribed or you got them off the street or whatever. And I don't care how natural you thought it was. You thought, well, I'm smoking grass. It's natural. No, it's not. It's not smoke. There's nothing natural about smoke going into our lungs. I mean, I don't like to be I kind of do. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news. Smoke going into the lungs of a human being is not natural. There's nothing natural about smoke. There's not a positive outcome with putting smoke in our lungs. I don't care what the smoke is, but it makes me feel good and I get high. I don't think I could get up. Somebody told me that recently. I don't think I could ever stop smoking. Smoking weed, it's natural, right? It's good, right? if you just really think, like, try to like objectively step away from your addiction. Well, I'm not addicted to it. It's not addictive. The doctors told me that it's not addictive. You know, I can, okay, well, whatever you think, then step away from your non-addictive thing and just reasonably think to yourself, does it make sense to put smoke into the lungs of an air gas engine being? Like, because at what point, what level of what level of conditioning had to occur to the point where people would legitimately think that there's something natural about putting smoke? Our breath is everything. There is no life without breath for humans. Yet, somewhere along the line, people thought that it would make sense, that it's natural. They ritualize it, put it in your religion, put it in this and that, and make a big deal about it. We can pray over it and put ooga booga kind of all around it. Do have people that look like magicians. Some of these priests have got these magic. It's like, oh, wow. Oh, this must be something. This must be deep. This must be really significant because they're dressed really interesting and they look weird. They're doing stuff and it must have a purpose. It must have a significance because it's so strange. And then they come and they burn, and it's the ritual burning of whatever they've made up in the moment. And they put some kind of philosophy to it. We're going to burn and then and smell the burn and put the smoke in your body. Ridiculous humans. You sick, sad folks. Come on. Do not try to fast until the tongue is clean. This advice has caused trouble with what Ehret calls fanatical fasters. In spite of the above, every cure can start with a 2 or 3 day fast. Almost every patient can do this without any harm, regardless of how serious their illness. First, a light laxative and then daily enema make it easier and harmless. You know, so I'm just going over some of the principles here while we're here, while we're talking about intermittent fasting and we're in this realm. We just get into some of these principles. Then we get back to, let's see where we were talking here. Well, this is, back to part 4. Fasting is going to be used. Start with the non-breakfast plan, then follow the 24-hour fast for a while, gradually increase up to 3 to 5 days of fasting. Ehret explains that the blood is gradually improved and waste is eliminated through this kind of intermittent fasting. This is the Mucusless Diet Healing System with fasting as an important part of it. Then we go on, so on and so forth. This is a good quote. Ehret explains, air baths taken in the room, enemas, natural laxatives, and cool lemonade would save the lives of thousands of young men and women who are now daily permitted to die, the innocent victims of pneumonia or other acute diseases due to the stubborn ignorance of doctors and so-called highly civilized people. Amen. So sad, man. I mean, it's just sad when you know what we know and the simplicity. You got your books and you got your practice. You put these things into practice and see for yourself. See what happens. People don't know the basics. It's basic. You wake up and you feel a little fever, and you're blowing your nose, and you got excess mucus is being produced and this kind of thing. and you lose your appetite. You're not hungry. What are you supposed to do? Well, if you know better, you're going to go do an enema and you're going to go lay down and not eat anything. And then maybe make some cool lemonade or some fresh juice or some water with some lemon squeezed in it or something like that. Maybe you'll drink that and then you'll lay back down and you will get into a fasting period. But that's not what folks do. They get in there and they start, chicken soup. Chicken soup. They had the audacity to make something called chicken soup for the soul. Chicken soup for the soul. Was that like because this chicken soup is helping you to die quicker, to let you commune with soul, or what? Like what are you talking about? Chicken soup when you're sick. And I ate ridiculous. Just chicken soup for the soul. Let me just see how soulful is this. I'm just trying to understand. Maybe somebody can explain this to me in the comment section. How is chicken soup soulful? What's the soulful nature of? How is this soulful? And why had this become the go-to meal when you're sick? At least in the United States, it's like a cultural thing. I don't know if it's where else it is, but that's like the cultural thing in the U.S. is the heritage of, oh, you get sick. Oh, would you like some chicken soup? And then you're gonna have them little cracker, those little zesty crackers, with the chicken soup. And which is just, I mean, you talk about mucus. That's just, so you got your noodles and the chicken, you got little pieces of pus, and then you got these are the most mucus ass crackers in the world. These little white zesty crackers, and you're gonna eat that with your soup, and like, oh, I'm sick, but so this is so soulful. Thank you, mommy. Thank you so much. This is so soulful. Such a soul. Humans are so soulful. Oh, chicken soup for the soul. Chicken slaughter for the soul. Let's see if they. Okay, I didn't know what would come up. Oh yeah. I mean that's a whole other thing. Where there's other people that dedicate their entire channels and lives to the analysis of the genetic modification of the animals and how sick and nasty these animals are, that they just grow, or basically growing, the way that they treat these animals, and they fatten them up and put all these hormones in them. And then you get this, you got the infused with all the hormones and the chemicals and the filthy feces that they live in, and you got all that, but it's made with love. Chicken soup for the soul, right? It's soulful. Absolute insanity. So let's see is this soulful? Chicken soup for the soul, for the baby soul. Say thank you. Thank you for the chicken soup. Some happy, I was about to say happy white folks, but we got black, they're non-discriminatory happiness. It's all about soulful chicken soup eating, living life. This has to be the most, oh man. Chicken soup for the girl's soul, chicken soup for the nurse's soul. Find your happiness. Is he looking for his happiness? Is his happiness in there? Is in there? Maybe he's looking for his happiness. Is his happiness in here? Where's his soul? This is all very soulful. It's very touching. It's loving, actually, I think. It's very come on, people. Man, chicken soup for the damn so. So I got off on this tangent because that's what people. It's still growing up. That's the conditioning. Is you get sick, oh, okay, have some chicken soup, get you the crackers, and then you sipping on this chicken soup. Then and then a week later you're still sick. 2 weeks later you're still not totally over it. Some point you probably went to the doctor and they gave you some penicillin or something, or they gave you some kind of mess. And yeah, it's sad situation. But yeah, I don't want nothing to do with the chicken soup for the soul, chicken soup for the for the chicken soup for the funeral. That's what that should be called, chicken soup for the funeral. The superior fast. Ehret says that the Indian fakir is the greatest faster in the world today. They are usually nothing but skin and bones. This shows that the cleaner a person is, the easier it is for them to fast. The elasticity of the entire tissue system is improved through fasting. The body does not have to work as hard when there is less obstruction. Ehret says, and if you simply supply the engine with the necessary water that is used up, you ascend into a higher state of physical, mental, and spiritual condition. I call this the superior fast. Ehret explains that your brain will function in an incredible manner when your blood is cleansed through fasting. The faster will feel a slight electric current. Ehret asserts that you will learn and realize that fasting and superior fasting, and not volumes of psychology and philosophy, and certainly not chicken soup for the soul, is the real and only key to a superior life, to the revelation of a superior world, and to the spiritual world. Amen. This chicken soup for the chicken soup. What's this? See, now they got, I don't know. I'm on this tangent now. Chicken soup for the soul pet. Chicken soup for the soul. Older and wiser. Chicken soup for the soul, a book of miracles. Yeah, see, this stuff just makes me cringe, because this kind of stuff takes people so far away from where they need to be. It's the sweetening you in your ignorance, and that bothers me. Like, that type of ignorance bothers me, because it takes otherwise well-meaning people that don't know that they don't know, but they're scared. They're usually too scared to check something out that would break, because they're very fragile, generally fragile type of people. And to have their reality destroyed when it comes to nutrition and health and diet, they're not ready for it. So this kind of stuff just sweetens you. And I know these books aren't necessarily diet, but that there's this philosophy of whatever, but it's all very the word provincial would be a good word. The provincialism, just a very just drivel comes to mind. Chicken soup for the teenage soul. I mean, they just exploit everybody on here. Just the chicken soup for the African American soul. Chicken soup for the African American soul. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. definitely do better than that. So if anybody has any questions, anything you want to say, feel free to post it up in the chat. This is going to be a little shorter episode today. I've been doing some bunch of work on some projects that we will be revealing soon, and so I've been just really working, like literally working around the clock on getting some of these things done. But let me see something here. I'm going to post a link. Let me grab something here. So I want to make a quick announcement. Where's it at? So let me. So I'm gonna post. So all right. So here's the announcement. In fact, let me bring something up here real quick. Give me one moment. Okay. See, Brady said the people are ready for that rational fasting audiobook. Oh, yes. Yeah. That is. So that is, I'll make that announcement. So that's one thing. So which I've worked on, and it's actually been done for a little while, but I hadn't released it yet. I made an audiobook for rational fasting voiced by yours truly. And so that is going to be released soon. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that. It's going to be released in an interesting way. And so that is something that I would definitely encourage everybody to stay tuned. And when that drops, you want to be there. And I know that there's some version of an audiobook of rational fasting, but it's not our rational fasting, and it's got missing stuff, and it's not at the level that it needs to be. So but yeah, that's going to be coming soon. And Deborah says putting a dead bird in boiling water is not going to heal anyone. Exactly. Yeah, it's not going to work. And chicken. Yeah, Brady said, gives your soul more protein. Give more protein. You get that protein. But yeah. So here is the big announcement that we are going to be kicking off Mucus-free diet and lifestyle coaching program for this year, 2024. And this is something that in the past several years, I've only done it once or twice a year. It's a 2-month long program, and we accept applications and enrollments and all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in that, you want to hear about it, or you want us to reach out to you, we'll be doing some discovery calls and all this kind of stuff over the next week or two. I'm gonna put a link in the chat. So this is if you're interested in potentially being a part of the coaching program, we'll reach out to you and get you some more information, meet with you, and see if it's the right fit, because this is something that's kind of an exclusive program where we don't always let everybody into it, because it's for people that are really, really serious about practicing the diet, that want the benefit of the community, the guidance. That's the closest in terms of being able to work with me on the Mucusless Diet Healing System. That's the opportunity is in the coaching program. That's because I had stopped doing a lot of my one-on-ones and all that stuff that I used to do back in the day. I found that to me, the coaching program was far superior than meeting with somebody a few times for an hour or whatever. It's like, I see that to me, if in turn, I want to do what's best for the person. And I can say what's best for the person that's serious is to be a part of the coaching program. So this is a Google form. Just fill out this form, and we'll be sending some messages out soon, talking a little bit more about it. Yeah, Brady's excited. Yeah, he's on board helping me with the program, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I enjoy it once we get into it. So again, that's Mucus-free Diet and Lifestyle Coaching Program. There's nothing else like it, and my goal has been to create the best natural health program on the planet. Just when it comes to the breadth of information that we can cover, dealing with wherever people are specifically and physiologically, it's to me, it's the strive for it to be the best. And actually, I have queued up here. This is a video. I got a number of testimonials of folks that were in the coaching program a while ago, but I have one that's queued up here. So this was from Mike Smar. So I think I'll just play this video, and this will give you a sense of what the coaching program is about when you get in here. And this is the place where you can ask all your questions, get the details, all the kind of stuff that I can't share on YouTube and Facebook. And it's like this, we've basically tried to create a place, that safe space, to be able to get as deep as we can in terms of the practice of the Mucusless diet, the art of it, from the fasting, how herbology connects in with the Mucusless diet, which is something that I really purposely don't really talk about publicly much, because there's reasons for that, because there's a lot of confusion with it, and the education has to be proper with it, and it gets rough. But yeah, so here is this video, and check this out. So this will give you a little sense of what's possible with the Mucus-free Diet and Lifestyle Coaching Program.
Headaches for the last 26 plus years, ever since I left the military, and it was just excruciating. The amount of pain and stuff that I've been in, the amount of medications that have wreaked havoc on my body. I have so many side effects and things from all the meds, and it was so disheartening because of just all the stuff that never worked. They wanted to do surgery. They wanted to open up my head. They wanted to sever the nerves and burn them, and that was still no guarantee. And so I started looking into you and what you had, and I knew right away, I'm like, yep, this is exactly what I was looking for. And so I got on board, and it's completely changed every aspect of my life. My mind's clearer. My sleep is better. The varicose veins I have in my legs from all those meds, that's all starting to get less and less. I was dumbfounded. I just kept watching that in the mirror, and I'm thinking, this is insane. The dry skin and stuff is all cleared up. Like, I don't know. It's unbelievable. It really is. I've struggled with so many different aspects of mental health and things like that, and all that's gotten better already. I knew the cannabis had to stop for me. And so 25 plus years of cannabis use was done in the first couple of weeks of the program. And you've given me this empowerment. I keep saying that, but it's this empowerment to deal with this now. I feel like I have the tools. I know what I need to do, and I know how to listen to my body a lot more now. You answered my questions. I mean, whenever I had these, no matter how far out they were or how ridiculous they seemed, I felt comfortable enough that I could ask you. it was anything. If we don't have our health, we have nothing. Nothing. So I encourage anybody to do it. It's worth the price of your car. It's worth the price of your house. It's worth the price of anything because you can't put that price tag on your life. Thank you. Yeah, just thank you so much. Trying not to get all emotional, but thanks. It's, yeah, never had someone do for me what you've done. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
So really it was just a pleasure to see Mike, man, just really doing the work, because that's the thing, is you get out of it what you put into it. All I can do is try to create an opportunity, and that's how I look at my work, is creating the opportunity, creating the space, because there is no other space. There's no other space to do Mucusless Diet Healing System at this level around a group of people that are experienced, that know what it is, and have all benefited greatly from it. That, you know, we had to create that, you know, so it's an opportunity. We had to create this opportunity, but you have to do the work. You have to take action. You know, there's no going around that, where you got to be the one to go do your enemas. You got to go down to the store, get your cases of lemons, you know, get your cases of apples, or go get your fruit, go find the seeded watermelon, go, you know, you got to do that work, you know, but we can help give you that support. And there's nothing like the support of the group, because this can be challenging. This can really be a challenging path when you're trying to do it all by yourself. So again, if you're interested, you want to work with me, want to work with the team, just sign up on this little sign up sheet, and we'll reach out to you, give you more information about details of it, and see if it's a right fit. See if we get into it, all of what it entails and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, see if it works. But let's see here. So again, yeah, Mucus-free diet, lifestyle coaching program. And let's watch. Here's I found the video of Brady. So Brady is on board helping with the program, but he went through the program. How many? He can say it in the chat. How many times he went through the program? But I think it was 2 or 3 times. I mean, he went through the program several times. But here's him talking a little bit about some of the benefits that he had.
An allergy symptom since I was a kid. My nose was running all the time. I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. They were doing operations on me to stop chronic nosebleeds I was having every single day. I was also dealing with a lot of skin conditions. I would have eczema, cystic acne all over my upper back and face. And since then, I've cured all of them, and I don't deal with any of that anymore. Now people are complimenting my skin and wondering why it's so, clear. The e-course is just 10 out of 10, the best course that I've ever taken, hands down. When I started doing this work, I had such a clarity of thought that I was able to go from being a C student and just jump right into being a straight A student, just from the level of clarity and the ability I had to study and retain information. Thank you for putting this together and creating these resources. Thank you.
Yeah, yet again, someone else is doing the work. Like I said, so that's all I can do. Put the resources together, put the information, the support, which is invaluable, because that when you have that kind of support, some people have to have that. I've seen some people that practice the Mucusless diet, they have to have that community support, or they're going to get off track, or they're going to get the shiny object syndrome. They see oh, that looks cool, or look at that. It's hard for them to stay. They need that type of coaching to stay on track. Like, don't deviate. Don't, and I'll get that sometimes. The folks will come to coaching session and they'll want my opinion on something that they heard about, some cleanse or some flavor of the month, some kind of thing that's popular. And so, what do you think about so-and-so, this kind of thing? And usually I can break it. It's usually something that Ehret already talked about that and broke down. It's some variation of something that's already been around for a long time that Ehret already explained. We just deal with it and then we can keep it moving. But yeah, that's it's a privilege to be able to put something like this together that can really help people, man. That's what it's about at the end of the day. It's like try to really help people get their confidence back in that they can heal themselves. Because I don't heal. Nobody heals you. Your body heals you. Your body is the healer. Now you got to put your body in the right environment and give it the right things, or take the right things away and clean up. As we say, the first thing we focus on is you got to clean that colon out. Let's clean up the colon. All disease starts in the colon. And so we deal with that. But that's the work. But once you understand, really, truly understand what healing is all about and what cleansing is all about. It's because it's not about the fad cleanses and let me go get this powder and let me get the whatever people are into, the charcoal tablets and this and all these, that's the shiny objects. And I was talking about the shiny object syndrome. Ooh, well, what about that? What about the charcoal? What about the clay? What about these herbs over here? What about that? But what about clean your colon out and relax and look inside, see what your body really needs. Like, cause you can ask your body when you're clean enough, you can look internally and you can ask your body, well, what do you need? And when you at least know the basics, it's going to tell you what you need. But until you get to that type of space, that's where the coaching can be helpful to help with that, to help with that type of process. But yeah, Bessie Brady says, yeah, can't wait. Yeah, Brian said, beautiful expression in that story. He said, so much better reception on here than Facebook. Oh, okay, that's good to know. Yeah, Facebook. Yeah, okay, Brady was in the program twice. And there's a question, does the program give a meal plan and fasting plan to begin with? The answer to that is yes. We actually have an 8-week, and this is something that I reserved just for the coaching program. So we have an 8-week, there's 8-week plan, menu planning, but it's customizable to you. And part of what we do in the coaching sessions is actually go through and I help you set that up for wherever you're at with the diet. So, because for me, what's really important with anything Mucusless diet related is the customizability, where it's got to be customizable to where, because everybody's different. People get up at different times of the day. People sleep different lengths of times, have different kinds of jobs that require different levels of energy, all these kind of stuff. So I've created a way for you to incorporate all of those things where you can just lay it all out and see it and then follow it, and makes it really easy, where all you got to do is just follow. It's like you lay it all out. But that's something that we can work on together. And the reason that I do it that way is because to me, it's far more valuable to help you create your plans and give the feedback and the analysis on it. And then, later years down the road, you still have that skill. And so to me, that's so much better than just some of these programs where they just hand you an already pre-written kind of menu plan and say, here, just do this. It's like, yeah, but that's not customized to you. And you didn't learn how to create that yourself. So that's one thing I like to teach is how you can create your own program for yourself that incorporates all of the principles of the Mucusless Diet Healing System. But yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, Brady said, yeah, the program definitely gets you started with the meal planning and fasting. Brady said, I was accelerated learning for me taking the program, but have definitely taken longer to learn with more bumps in the road without the coaching. Let's see. I just have planning, implementing higher executive functioning. If I have a schedule, I can follow it, but I can't seem to make one. Well, yeah, I mean, this is literally, yeah, this is literally would be the program for you, because that's one of the things that we really do is the menu planning. It's like a whole. Not only that, so I have a video on it that teaches you how to do it. So there's a bonus. There's a whole bonus section that you get access to when you enroll. And one of the things in there is is a master class on menu planning using our spreadsheet system. So it's basically there's a spreadsheet system that I created, and we teach you how to use that. And then you literally on the spreadsheet, you put like, what time do you get up in the day? If you get up at 6 a.m., then you write out what you're going to do. In fact, maybe I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me see here. So this is this is just a week one example, but I won't get too deep into it because there's more to it than this, and I don't want this to seem overwhelming or something when you don't get the full context. But this is just an example where you go through and you'll put in your schedule. If you get up and in this case, you wake up at 7 o'clock, then we got Ehret's stretching exercises. If you're doing the no breakfast plan, but there's always options. So the way that I built this out was to make sure that you had your options in there, so that if we got so no breakfast plan, but there is an option that's in the Mucusless Diet Healing System book where if you really want or need to eat something early in the day, then you're going to have some fruit as a breakfast option. Then prepare the green juice. So this gets practical. Whereas if you have a job and you're going to be away all day, then you want to schedule time, whether you do it the night before or the morning of or whenever, but you want to incorporate into your time schedule to do your juicing, to do some food prep, get your food together for your travels, like whatever, so you build that to your daily schedule. You go to work, so on and so forth, and we get Ehret's 2-course meal, dressing, so this is just week one, but each one of these weeks features some different principles that folks go over in terms of the some of them are 100% mucus free. There's examples of those weeks of what a 100% mucus free week looks like, what a juice fasting week would look like, or day, what that plan looks like. That's all laid out. But to me, again, the most important thing is you can customize it to your schedule and get in there. But you get the enemas, get on the schedule, all that stuff is laid out, and then I help you put it together, where we work on that together. Yeah. Brian says, stop putting stuff in the body's way, to just let it do what it's already designed to do. Exactly. Let's see, we got a question. You get to keep the program materials and videos, or is it over? No. So as of right now, and this might be the last class that gets this, but you get lifetime access to everything, all the materials. So that's e-course. If you're not already in the e-course, we get you into the e-course. Then the bonuses. I should go get my. I have all this stuff written out, all the stuff that's in the program. But yeah, you get lifetime access to all the materials. So yeah, and there's the coaching set. There's recordings of the coaching sessions, and that's the only thing you might not get lifetime access to all of the coaching sessions, but you definitely will have it while you're in the program. But that'd be the only part that might not. But as of right now, it is lifetime access to even all the coaching programs. So when you join now, the coaching sessions that was recorded in the past, you can go back and check them out. And we got people that are interested in becoming mucus-free consultants and coaches and that kind of stuff. They really find that valuable because they can go back and they can. And when I find what happens, people go and watch those old episodes of the coaching sessions, and then they don't even they really end up having few questions in our coaching sessions because they're answered. All their questions were already answered in the previous sessions. But yeah. So that's but yeah, no, you're gonna get lifetime access to all the content, and which, like I said, is in the future that might change after this one. So this would be the perfect time to get in there to get that, because in the future it could turn into more of a monthly kind of thing, where after the program you do kind of a monthly subscription type of thing. But no, right now, lifetime access. Let's see. Deborah says, "Thank you, Spiro, for keeping Ehret alive." Well, thank you so much for the love and the support and putting the word out there. I know you do a lot to get the word out. Mucusless Diet Healing System. And Brian says, "Blessings to all." And let's see. Let's watch one more story. This is Monica, and you've probably seen some of Monica's videos. We're making the food prep videos with the kids, and but she was in the coaching program a while back, and here's some of her story.
My weight, I couldn't drop anything, and right now I've dropped already at least 20 pounds now. I've gone to the eye doctor since my appointment, and my eyes have already started improving. The doctor's afraid to give me my full prescription because he feels like maybe it's adjusting or something, because he's unsure of what's happening. He doesn't want to drop my prescription that fast. And so the next time I go, I'm going to make him do it, because I end up doing this with my glasses because it's too strong. So definitely stuff is clearing up in the eye region and the brain, the frontal lobe. Joints, I literally couldn't lift myself up with my hand. And afterward, it was like way stronger than before.
Yeah, Monica. And again, someone doing the work, putting in the work. And let me see here. So real quick, so I haven't updated this. This is from. Yeah, okay. I'll just share this like this. So with the Mucus-free Diet and Lifestyle Coaching Program, is an 8-week program, weekly accountability calls and Q&A calls with me. So there's two sessions. So there's a session, accountability call session, and then there is the coaching session with me. And so that's at least two live sessions a week. That's hitting things from different angles. But the done for you mucus-free menu planning templates, 8 weeks worth is what we were just looking at there. Exclusive how to mucus-free menu plan masterclass video, the access to our private non-Facebook online coaching and community support group, mucus-free accountability partnership and group opportunity, and the recorded archive of the coaching calls. And that's just, there's more stuff than this. This is just the overview of the main, some of the main things. We got the full support and accountability, the weekly calls. And if you had to miss a session, just send your questions in and we record it. So you'll be able to watch it back and I'll answer your questions during the session. We have each week we have multiple times on the coaching days, so that covers all the different time zones and stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, we got Mucus-free Social, our very own private social media platform, away from all of the nonsense. Of course, this is an outdated image. It looks better than this. This is the masterclass I was talking about, the how to mucus-free menu plan that gets into detail about how to do that. What's this? In this video, I'm going to give you that's old. It's old. So anyway, I didn't want to spend too much time on that, but definitely, if you are at all interested, I encourage you to sign up, and we'll be reaching out to you. Just sign up to get more information, and we'll be reaching out to you really soon. I'll put this link, this bulky link, in the chat one more time. This this big long doc. But yeah, if there's any issues with it, let me know. But yeah, just fill out your information, and we will reach out to you when we get a chance. So yeah, so that's about it that I got for today. I know this is like I said, it would probably be a shorter day. You know, of course, I can go on and on and on if I just start. I could just open it up to a random page and just start reading, and then I add another hour of talking. We're just on a page going, "Why to fast?" The search for health goes on unceasingly. And while fasting has helped untold thousands of sufferers to regain normal health, it is essential that we must know when, how, and why to fast in order that we might receive the greater amount of physical and mental benefit. Now, this is Fred Hirsch, his Health and Happiness Through Fasting, why, when, why, where, and how to fast. And we just earlier, that'd been last year, we did Rational Fasting Book Club, and we've been doing book club. And this is more folks that generally people that were in the coaching program or enrolled in the e-course and really active in the community are a part of this book club, and it's excellent. You know, we go through all kinds of, just really get deep into the different books and the content, and reading a lot of the supplementary materials and things that what Ehret was talking about. And, you know, it's just, it's a great thing. But that's something that, there might be some ways to get access to some of the replays from those soon. So keep a lookout for that. But yeah, we're doing a lot. There's a lot going on that we're working on. The fundamental cause of growing old and ugly. The means founded in nature for maintenance of youth and beauty. Following the previous general arguments to the effect that mucus is the main cause of disease and aging, there is only left to show in particular and on the various organs in how far the mucus of culture food acts, quote, beauty hindering, unquote, in the construction of the human body and produces symptoms of ugliness and age. If, according to paradisiac primary laws, the lungs and skin would be given nothing but pure air and sun electricity, and the stomach and bowels nothing but sun food, that is, fruits, which are being digested almost without rest, secreting all mucusless, pasteless, and germless cellulose, there seems to be no reason why the tube system of the human body should become defective, weaken, age, and finally break down entirely. Instead of the living energy cells of the fruit, one eats killed food, which biologically is meant for beasts of prey, that is, food chemically changed by air oxidation, or decay, dead boiled, and robbed of its energy. Mucus accumulates, especially in the heating channel or the stomach and bowels of the tube machine, and slowly clogs up the channel and filters or the glands. The sum total of this defilement causes chronic defects, makes one grow old, and is the main factor in the nature of all disease. Growing old, therefore, is actually a latent disease. That is a slow but constantly increasing disturbance in the operation of the motor of life. If human ugliness as such, lost beauty, and symptoms of growing old can be made accountable for by wrong nourishment, then the theory of beauty and rejuvenation leads to a dietetic cure and a respective improvement of nourishment. But in as much as beauty, especially human beauty, cannot be absolutely defined because everybody has a different taste, I can limit myself only to the main standards of aesthetic demands. The white corpse color of the light and sunless humans of culture cannot be considered beautiful, since it emanates mainly from the white corpse color of the dead boiled wrong food. What wonderful color a person can get who feeds on bleeding grapes, cherries, and oranges, and who systematically takes air baths and sun baths, cannot be imagined by the modern artist of the plein air painting. Mucus and at the same time lack of mineral matter means as much as lack of color. Just compare the food tables of Dr. Koenig and you will find that the mucusless food, the fruits and starchless green leaf vegetables, occupy the first place as regards their contents of necessary mineral matter, especially lime. The size of a person, that is the circumference of the skeleton, depends, for instance, mainly on the amount of lime contained in the food, so on and so forth. Yeah. Mucus's rational fasting, Mucus's diet healing system. These should all be in your possession. You should own these books. You should have access, whether it's the digital versions or the physical versions or some type of edition or version. You should have these and read them and study them and really think about it for yourself. Now, of course, I mentioned the e-course, and you enroll in the coaching program. If you're not already in the e-course, then we do grandfather you into the e-course and enroll you into the e-course, and that is definitely very, very beneficial to get in there. And the e-course takes you through the entire book, because what most people don't realize is the original Mucusless Diet Healing System was a textbook that went along with in-person training, in-person lectures given by Professor Arnold Ehret. So the book was never meant to actually stand on its own without additional training. So, and Ehret is not here at the moment, so so I tried to put something together, an e-course where you can go through, and we go through the entire book, and over the course of 8 weeks as well. So some folks in the coaching program, if they get questions as they're going through the e-course, questions might come up, then we discuss that as well in the coaching session. So anything, we talk about everything in the coaching sessions, because sometimes anything from the details and nuts and bolts of the Mucusless diet to how to deal with certain social challenges. You're trying to get into the Mucusless diet, but your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or your wife don't do the diet. What do? You get somebody asks you to come to a wedding, and you be a part of the wedding, and you're expected to eat the cake and all this. Well, what do? It's like, so we get into the real life situations, the real life stuff that people have to deal with. And I'm really good at creating strategies and mindsets and imparting those on how to deal with these kind of situations, because and sometimes it can be, there's different approaches, and I take that into consideration, because I know most people can't do what I did. The way I did it was I'm known for being a little intense for the way that I dealt with social dynamics and that kind of thing. So I know not everybody can do what I did, but everybody can do it their way. There's a way, but you got to find that, and we help you find that. What's an appropriate way for you to not because there is no compromise. So for you to not compromise your diet and what you're trying to do, but still be able to function in your family situation and your friends and whatever. And there's definitely ways, good and bad ways to do that. And the bad ways usually end up with you falling off the wagon and going and eating, usually ends in some kind of restaurant situation and going and eating some things that you otherwise wouldn't have eaten. But that's the kind of, but then even if you do that, we've had folks that in the program in the past that did that, and you come back and we're not berating you. There's no negativity or anything. It's understanding. We say, like, we got you. Let's take a look at the situation and let's see what we can change so that the next time that situation occurs or those opportunities present themselves, you can make a decision that can give you a different result. And so that's because it's all real life. Like, this is real life practice of the Mucusless diet. Is it can be messy. It could be not. It's an art form. It's as you work and you refine it, it gets more refined. But you got to work on it. You got to focus on the work, and you ultimately get to that point where you learn how to put your life around. Because when I got in really serious about practicing the Mucusless diet, I put that at the center of my life. Like, everything had to revolve around the lifestyle. And for me, that's what it took to be successful, was where you put, like, this is important. This is very important. So I'm gonna put this here, and then everything else, you figure it out. So, but when you are dealing with the Mucusless diet, because then the spiritual implications of it in terms of a path, as a spiritual path, it forces you to know thyself, to really truly learn who you really are. And it does it in a way like meditation alone doesn't do what this does. These different hypnosis therapies, or the different things that and neurolinguistic programmings and all these different things I've seen. There's these things that can be good, and good. I'm a fan of Sedona method, but all these things are good, can be good. They can also be bad depending on who's doing it and what's going on with it. But I gotta be careful with that stuff. But there's nothing, the Mucusless Diet Healing System practice, when done the right way, it brings you right. It forces you to confront yourself in a way that nothing else does. I don't care if you are getting into the different psychedelics or what, all these different things that people are into now. It's like Mucusless Diet Healing System is a path to enlightenment, to physiological enlightenment, to really learning who you are and how you fit into this. Like, what is this thing we're dealing with here? This human experience, this earth thing, and what's going on? You can get insights, because there's nothing like you clean yourself up enough to the point where you can do a rational fast, a longer fasting period, and then you're fasting and you start, it's breaking so much down in terms of everything that you've been taught has been a lie about your body, because you're thinking to yourself, I should be dead. They said you can't do this. They said you can't go this long without food, or you can't function without dead animal flesh. You can't function without these protein and it's all lies. It's all lies, generally from marketers and people that's trying to market you their food and all their garbage, their medicines. I was just going through some of these medicines and things that I know that I keep hearing the word Ozempic and all this stuff, and I don't even need to know all the details other than just do a search for side effects. And then when they got things that they're becoming so normalized, but the side effects are pancreatic issues and potential heart issues and lung issues and liver issues, and you're going to rationalize it, it's like, we're in a bad situation when learning to control what you put in your body, getting away from the pus forming foods that are at the foundation of the degeneration of the human body and the creation of these disease states. Remove that, clean the body out, clean the colon out, and get on a cleaner diet. But they'll say that's extreme. But some kind of pill or injection or something. Like, look at this. And they always have a song. So this is whatever this stuff. But look at this. What are the possible side effects? Inflammation of your pancreas. Do you know how dangerous that is? Like that's, and they just like, don't worry about it. Ozempic. Like just listen to the song. We're happy. Look at the happy people. Don't worry about that part. You do not want to do something. Again, this is not medical advice. You don't want to do something that's going to mess with your pancreas. Inflammation of the pancreas? Like, you want to play with that? For what? Because you didn't want to stop eating dead animal flesh? You didn't want to stop eating cheese? You didn't want to stop eating processed white flour and white sugars, and you didn't want to get off of rice? And you didn't want to do lemon juice and distilled water enemas because that was too extreme. But you'll take something that might mess with your pancreas? Changes in vision, low blood sugar. You'll take something that might cause kidney problems? Huh. Serious allergy. You might do something that'll mess with your gallbladder? Huh. I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. But what do I know? I'm the fruits and vegetable lemon enema guy. Far be it from me. I put some pancreatic doctor out of work because the people don't decide not to go down this road, and that's one. I'm taking food out of the mouth of the doctor that would be prescribing and dealing with the inflammation of the pancreas, pancreatitis, the kidney doctors, all the people that charge $8,000 per session or whatever, some of these thousands of dollars per session to clean the blood when your kidneys are not able to clean the blood anymore. Now I got this stupid, and I got the dumb song, and I can't do nothing about that. I got this song in my head, that commercial where they take a pop song, and this is an old marketing trick. Take a pop song that was really popular for the demographic, older people, the demographic of the people that you're targeting. You take the pop song, you strip it of whatever its original meaning was and its original words, put your product in there, and then put it on your commercial. Then when people watch it and they hear that song, they're having this, that you're literally connecting with their childhood. It's pretty evil. You really think about it. Yeah, so they hear this song, and y'all know, oh, Zampic. You know, I don't even know why I know it. When the hell did I watch? Because I think this has been around. I feel like it's been around a long time. Because I feel like I've seen that years ago when I was actually watching TV and stuff. Because the stuff that's out now, I don't know it. But a lot of the newer medicines and commercials, I don't know. But I got that in my head still, that Ozempic tune. But they take that song, and then it literally is a way to hypnotize you to be less discerning. It takes you back to your childhood, or to happier times, or when you were younger, and so you're not as they get you into this space of like, yeah, oh, that's a yeah, and then when it comes to the part where they're trying to explain to you side effects may include inflammation in the pancreas, you're already under. Like, you're not even paying attention to that. You're just watching the happy people on the screen, listening to the music, and just, oh wow, that'd be great, as opposed to fruits and green leafy vegetables, lemon juice and distilled water enemas, intermittent fasting, herbs if you need them, sunbathing, air baths, stretching and exercise, breath work and meditation. But that's extreme to some people. That doesn't, they'll claim that doesn't work. That's extreme. But inflammation of the pancreas, that's, don't worry about that. Doesn't happen to everybody. There's a chance. It's a chance of that happening. See, Deborah said California has banned 5 toxic ingredients. Okay. Yeah. See, Don says stress makes me more hungry. It's tough to fast under stress. Yeah, that's a thing, and that's one of the things we talk about, and that I often recommend in the coaching program. It seems like, or just in general, is I explain that you can't heal when you're stressed out. You have to make the proper changes in your life to put yourself in a non-stressful situation. And that's part of the work that you have to do. That becomes part of the what's required. Because the work isn't always, just knowing eat the foods and this kind of, like, no, the work is create your environment, create the peaceful situations, understand how you interface with the world. And that's something that is going to change as you transition, and as you change, the way in which you relate to and interface with the world is going to change, or has to change, and you don't want to fight it, because then that creates more stress. And Overwatching, so I was on a fast last week serving ice cream at my daughter's birthday party. It was a tough life. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yep, that would definitely be a tough one there. And you know, and there's something that I would love to talk about. I don't even know if I should be showing it, but it seems like in the news recently, there's been a lot of articles saying the stuff that I was saying 3 years ago. The very things when I said it, they took my videos down and gave me a strike on YouTube. But now, when the doctors are saying it, but nobody's really paying attention to it, it's, I guess it's okay for some people to talk about it now. But I still can't. They still won't let me talk about it, or they'll take my channel away. And it's more valuable to me to be able to broadcast out to the people that otherwise wouldn't hear this information than to, play their little censorship, stupid games. But yeah, wouldn't you know it, that they'd always. So that becomes part of their plan. They're like, yeah, we'll reveal it in three or 4 years. We'll acknowledge it, but by then people will already either be dead, sick, or not, off to the next thing, not really care about it. But I know there's a lot of us that lost loved ones, not to a disease, but to a mandate that the government was pushing on its citizenry. Then now they come and oops-a daisy. There's some maybe we might have been holding back some information on purpose. The government might have been holding back information about the efficacy of certain procedures. But, we did our best. We did our best to warn the people that we could warn. And unfortunately, there's people that are no longer with us because they trusted the so-called science. They trusted the government agencies and the doctors, and they trusted all these people, not us. They didn't trust us. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're conspiracy. You don't know. You're not a doctor, and you're not a. It's like, well, okay, all right. Now there's people whose lives have been changed for the worse permanently, and it's really sad. See what Deborah said. Canada has full censorship laws passed. Yeah, it's a sad situation. So this is Hoopano girls. Natural principles are universal principles. Most definitely. It's these universal principles that we have to get in alignment with if we want to heal ourselves, if we want to try to live in alignment with nature on some level. It's important, but at every turn, they are trying to program you out of it, and we got all this really intense conditioning, cultural conditioning, and medical conditioning, and all this stuff that really serves to make people really confused, make people feel like they're not authorized to heal themselves. They're not authorized to feel better without the drugs of whoever, and it's a sad thing. But that's why we say practicing the Mucusless Diet Healing System and going down this path is the most revolutionary thing that you can do. This is revolution. We're not hurting people. We're not trying to overthrow government or go run in someplace with some guns. Like, no, we're doing the most revolutionary thing that you can do, and it doesn't hurt nobody. You know, so for some reason it'll hurt people's feel. Just your mere presence and doing whether you say anything or not, that can hurt some people's feelings because they feel guilty about how they're living, because internally they know that it's wrong, but they can't acknowledge that, and so they gotta, oh, that's ridiculous, that's extreme, so you don't eat any meat. And I had a conversation with somebody not that long ago, it's been a while, and I had one of those where they're like, so you don't eat any fish, you don't eat any so what about, it's like chicken, you don't like, and I said I don't eat meat, and they're so chicken, you don't eat chicken, so fish, you don't eat fish. Well, see, but I know you eat seafood, you don't eat seafood. So what do you eat? It's yeah. You'd think it would be. It's not that complicated, but man, people, these addictions are something else. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and go on down below, click the subscribe link, click the like button, all that good stuff. Again, if you're interested in joining us for the coaching program this semester, this go around, I'm going to put the link in the chat one last time. Let's fill that out, and we will be reaching out to you at some point. And yeah, it's time to take things to the next level. So I thank you all so much for tuning in. And of course, tell a friend that mucus-free is the way to be. Thank you all so much. And until next time, peace, love, and breath.
We are mucus-free. 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 We are mucus-free.